Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Got a lot of ground to cover today on this Thursday afternoon, staring down the possibility of yet another winter storm passing through our area this weekend. We have kind of a better handle on the timing of what's headed our way and what kind of precipitation is set to fall here. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy here with our hour-by-hour forecast. All right, he's going to walk us through the weekend as this storm system is set to impact us. More areas, more so than others. So Jonathan will map it all out for us coming up here in just the next couple of minutes. I want to get to our top story this hour, and that is county leaders reacting after the FBI executed this major search. They are calling it an enforcement action of Fulton County Election Headquarters. Kevin Stewart is there. Kevin, we heard from Rob Pitts, the county chairman, today. What did he have to say about all this?
Well, he had a lot to say, and I want to start out by pointing out that we've actually had a chance to take a look at that warrant that allowed federal authorities to come into this building, and so we now know exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for voter rolls and ballots. The question is, what are they going to do with that? That's something that Commissioner Pitts is concerned about. This is all tied to the 2020 election. President Donald Trump lost that election. He alleged fraud in Fulton County. There were audits that stated that just was not the case. Now, one thing that Commissioner Pitts made a point to say is that the warrant that allowed them to go in here was lawful, so they complied, but they were secure here, and he does not believe, he's not confident, I should say, that what's going to happen with those ballots now that they've been taken off. This case, these ballots were being stored here because this whole issue is still under litigation, archived here, and there was a hearing coming up in a couple of weeks where all of this stuff would have been presented. I want you to take a listen to him and Commissioner Mo Ivory.
We in Fulton County have nothing to hide. And finally, and most importantly, this is by no means over. This is by no means over. And we're grateful for everyone around the country who is in this fight with us. And they're with us from every corner of this great nation. Any honest review of these files will show what every previous review has shown. Fulton County elections are fair and lawful, and the outcome of the 2020 election will not change, period.
The administration of elections is not a partisan issue. Who you vote for is your choice when you get into the voting booth. This does not have anything to do with who people want to see in power. This is about fair and free elections being administered in a way that makes voters feel confident about exercising their right to vote. That's what Fulton wants, and that's what Fulton's been doing. Our elections are secure. Our employees are amazing employees who do their job every single day. There is nothing anybody has to worry about on the Fulton side. They need to be worried about the president.
Now, there is a lot of speculation as to what this is about. The commissioner says she believes this is about intimidation for the midterm elections. But, of course, we do not know that. One thing that is missing in this equation is an official statement from federal authorities. You know, what was their mission here? We do know from what was said in the warrant, they were looking for ballots, they were looking for voter rolls, and this is tied to the 2020 election. But we still have not heard officially from anyone from the FBI or the U.S. Justice Department. What's also worth noting is that we reached out to 2 Republican members of the Fulton County Commission, but so far we have not heard back. Tom?
Interesting, Kevin. You know, just following this story as it kind of unfolded this week, there are so many iterations of the 2020 election and so many beliefs on one side or the other, not only held by the president or Fani Willis or elected officials, but people who actually go and vote. I mean, maintaining the integrity of the state's election system is something that Brad Raffensperger has been sort of speaking a lot about and reinforcing. It'll be interesting to see and sort of be able to dig deeper as to what this investigation is all about and what it yields at the end of the day. Any idea, and it's so early on in this investigation, when we might get some answers about what they found inside the Fulton County election headquarters?
Well, certainly we were hoping to hear sometime today, but obviously that has not happened. Of course, there's still plenty of time left in the day, but hopefully we'll hear in the next week. There's plenty of speculation. You talk to people privately that I've had a chance to try to talk to, and some say they're actually just waiting until they hear something from Washington before they speak out.
All right. It's a story that we're going to continue to follow here, certainly on Fox 5, as it is revealed over these next coming days and weeks, not only what was sort of unearthed inside the offices there, but the motivations behind the FBI's actions. Kevin Stewart, Kevin, thanks so much. The GBI is now investigating an officer-involved shooting at Cobb County Police Headquarters. This is a story we've been on top of. The shooting happening yesterday evening. The GBI confirming that Rebecca Patterson, 26 years old, was shot and seriously injured. They say that Patterson entered the headquarters and asked to speak with an officer. The two apparently went outside, according to authorities, had a conversation during which Patterson allegedly pulled out a gun and pointed it at the officer. It's not clear what the confrontation was all about, but Patterson was taken down by officers and then she was transported to the hospital in critical condition. But again, the GBI stepping in and taking over this investigation after an officer-involved shooting at Cobb County Police Headquarters. Now on to an incredible takedown of a suspect accused of stabbing somebody to death. This happened in Fayette County, where our Doug Evans is standing by live for us. And Doug, we understand that deputies used bloodhounds to take down this murder suspect.
That's right, Tom. Bloodhounds from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. And listen, I just got an incredible piece of body cam footage that I thought we could all watch together here on Fox Local. Let's go ahead and roll that footage. It was the capture of Reginaldo Tiul.
Flip over on your stomach. We got one at gunpoint. Corneo. I got him. Roll over. On your stomach. Levante la manos. He's got the knife. He's got the knife. It's underneath.
Underneath him. Right there.
Here.
Back in his back. Okay.
That knife is the murder weapon.
Turn over. All over.
All right, so that's the body cam footage that we just got from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. The arrest of a murder suspect here yesterday. This happened at the Shiloh Motor Home Park, or actually Mobile Home Park, on State Road 54 here in Fayette County. Called there about 3 o'clock in the morning. They get there and they find a man stabbed to death in one of the trailers. They learn that Reginaldo Tiul had run from the scene with the knife in his hand. They used a bloodhound, and they've got several of those here at the Fayette County Sheriff's Office to track him. They say they tracked him for about 20 minutes, found him there in the woods on a sofa. And listen, it was cold 2 nights ago. It was very, very cold, and he was barefoot in jeans and a t-shirt and freezing there in the woods, they said, when they found him. He did have the murder weapon, they say, still on him, a knife, a very long knife, looked like some kind of kitchen knife. This is the man that we're talking about. This is Reginaldo Tiul, and he is charged with murder, also charged with aggravated assault and using a knife in the commission of a crime. So some pretty incredible footage there. This dog's name is Rufus, He's a bloodhound, and he was able to track this suspect for about a half an hour through this mobile home park and out into the woods and find the suspect there out in the woods, Tom.
Doug, the tools that Fayette County law enforcement have to use. You know, you cover so many stories down there, whether it's catching an alleged child predator, whether it's using sort of a traffic pit maneuver to get somebody off the streets, whether it's using, in this case, bloodhounds to track down a murder suspect. The panoply of resources and tools that they use down there is incredible. And then seeing this body cam video of the actual takedown, were these couches just kind of out in the woods and that's where the suspect decided to hide out?
Yeah, that's what they described it to me exactly, Tom, as couches that had been abandoned there in the woods. Also, you know, it's interesting because we do a lot of these stories with these canines. Bloodhounds work differently than the other dogs that you see, the dogs that are often associated with police canines, these Malinois that you see. They're great dogs, and they work totally differently. A Malinois that you see in the back of a police car or whatever, when that dog sniffs, Tom, it sniffs for disturbances in the ground, odors that are kicked up from the ground, and that's how that dog tracks. A bloodhound is different. A bloodhound senses the smell that is left by your body as you move from one place to another. As you're walking through, say, this mobile home park at 3 o'clock in the morning, your body is shedding skin and things like that, leaving odors all over the place. That's what a bloodhound tracks. Totally different than these other police canines that you see, and why they're so effective, especially in urban areas, of tracking a suspect, because we're all shedding these smells as we walk about, and once that dog is able to lock in on that's the smell I want, that's how they track them.
Incredible. And I'm glad you distinguished the two, because I don't know if you called them, was it a Malamule that chases down the suspects? Malinois, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're adept. They can tap back and forth very, very quickly. I believe that you were on the stream here a couple of weeks ago with one that went under a fence and took a suspect down, but the bloodhounds are more plotting, and I would compare them to, in terms of investigative tools, like you see the heat-seeking helicopters above a scene where they are tracking a suspect in the woods. They pick up the heat of the body. I mean, it is absolutely amazing to hear how animals are almost better at finding people just by tracking down their scent, droplets of blood, as you said, vibrations in the ground. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That's the difference between these two types of law enforcement dogs. The Belgian Malinois, those are great dogs used for apprehension. As you said, we had some video here on Fox Local just a couple of weeks ago where a guy climbs over the top of the fence and the canine officer puts his dog underneath the fence. That dog takes off and tackles the suspect. They are also good at tracking, but again, they only track ground disturbances. They don't track the actual smell of the suspect himself. That's what a bloodhound does. When a bloodhound is tracking, the bloodhound is tracking the actual smells left by the suspect.
Incredible, and just such a interesting behind-the-scenes look at how Fayette County law enforcement work to capture whomever they're looking for. Doug Evans live with that body cam video and the story sort of behind the story for us today here in the 3 p.m. streaming hour. Doug, thanks. All right, I'm joined now by meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Going to scooch a little bit as we take a live look outside over downtown Atlanta. Our days of clear and cold temperatures are finally over after our ice storm rolled through here last week, causing a significant amount of disruption for especially our friends up in the northeastern part of the state. Hate to say it, but looks like we're going to get a repeat, not of the icy weather, but of wintry weather. And and in the same parts of the state all over again. Let's bring in Jonathan with exactly what we're talking about here, Jonathan.
This is round 3, the third weekend in a row in which winter weather has been in the forecast. And as Tom mentioned, this is not icy weather. This is all about snow from top to bottom. With that winter storm watch now expanded into the metro, I do think there will be impacts as far west as the metro area. So let's take a look at the latest data that's in from the National Weather Service. And you can see here all counties that are shaded in blue are under that winter storm watch, where you could receive up to 3 inches of snowfall. This all happened Saturday. Winds gusting up to 35 miles an hour, producing single-digit wind chills by the latter part of the day. Now, I know this watch starts Friday evening and it goes through Sunday morning, but the ire of the snowfall will hit once again. This is Saturday morning, really Saturday morning between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So let's go ahead and get straight to the latest models that are in to show you the timing of all this. We're looking at timing first. As we look at the model here, you see this area of low pressure digging across the South United States. As it moves out to the coast, we catch the back side of it, which pulls in a lot of cold air, and that cold air will be firmly afoot by the time the precip arrives. Therefore, it is an all snow event. You can see that there is a meager amount of moisture that would be a wintry mix or even wet weather variety. It's all snowfall, especially as you get into Georgia and the Appalachians. This is 6 o'clock Saturday morning, and this continues to be our lot throughout the morning into the early afternoon. There's a thick band of snow, and it looks like the cutoff line is going to be pretty distinct. At this point, it looks like areas that are to the east of I-75 will have the highest snowfall amounts. As we go through the afternoon, it's now 3 o'clock, you can see those bands are starting to pull out farther to the east, but there's still present snow squalls that could reach into Atlanta at that time. By the time the sun sets, you can see most of the energy is on either side of the Georgia South Carolina state line, with some moisture still seeping across the North Carolina state line into the state of Georgia, once again giving areas that will have already gotten a lot of snow even more snowfall. By Sunday morning, all of this is in our rearview mirror. So let's go ahead and look at the snowfall expectations here. This is the low end amount here. I'm going to show you 2 different models, and so that calls for up to and over 3 inches of snowfall from Athens to Gainesville to Blairsville. That's where we're expecting to find the highest snowfall amounts that come as early as Saturday midday, continuing through the afternoon. Here in the Atlanta metro area, that 0.7 would amount to a coating of snow, even snow reaching out to the Alabama-Georgia state line. There in Colton, you're getting 0.3 of an inch, 0.4 of an inch there in Rome, up and over an inch there in Dalton. However, it's a dry snow, so it will accumulate quickly, and with the ground already being cold, there is a real possibility that these totals could exceed an inch here in the metro area. And look at those numbers for Blairsville, Gainesville, and Athens. Above 5 inches of snowfall, even as far south as Eaton, getting more than 5 inches of snowfall. If this verifies, this will be an absolutely catastrophic event for our neighbors out to the east, and problematic here in the metro area and for points to the west as well. Tom?
Catastrophic because they're already sitting on a lot of ice, damage, trees, power lines, things like that?
For multiple reasons. 6 inches of snow is something, I don't care how high your mountains are. You're just not prepared for that. Blairsville gets snow consistently. They generally get 2 inches of snowfall. 6 inches of snowfall is just going to make for problems not only in the event as it's occurring, but there will be problems for days to come. And this is why, because temperatures are going to really settle down below freezing through Saturday going into Sunday. And it's not until Monday that temperatures finally come above freezing. You know, the higher you climb in elevation, the slower the temperatures are to actually warm up. So you could be looking at snowpack on the ground for more than 48 up to 72 hours after the event has already ended. Add to that, there are going to be some pretty robust winds. Those winds are higher the higher you go in elevation. Therefore, we're expecting gusts here in the metro area around 35 miles per hour. You get into the mountaintops where you're above 2,000, 3,000 feet above sea level, those gusts easily topping out near 40, 45 miles an hour. That could create temporary blizzard-like snowfall-like conditions across, once again, the mountainous areas, mainly for areas to the north of the I-85 corridor. It looks like it's going to be an active event, especially to the east of the city, but I can't rule out the metro for having impacts right now.
So we're talking about freezing temperatures, frozen ground, because it's been really, really cold, where the snow is not going to melt when it hits the ground, and up in those far reaches of the state, more limited resources than we have to clear the snow out from the roadways. I mean, potentially
sort of terrain too.
Trapping people where they are up there. I mean,
it's windy up there.
Yeah.
It, typically many of those communities are one way in, one way out, uphill, downhill. You know the terrain up there. So the big question will be just how much will you get, not will you get something. And I can definitely say at this point, Athens, Gainesville, and Blairsville, you're locked in. I'll put my life on it. In the Atlanta metro area, it's going to be a close call once again. However, it's not about the temperature profile. It's about the proximity of the moisture. How close will that low reach in to metro Atlanta? Right now, it's definitely abiding over eastern Georgia. Will it move further? And we're talking about 15 miles to the west could make a difference in between having a dusting versus having up to 2 inches of snowfall.
So, sorry to keep you here, but a couple of things. Does the pre-treatment, which happened for the ice storm, stretch into that's all gone, right? I mean, that's been that's washed off the roads.
That's said and done. Yeah.
Okay, so they're gonna have to get out there and start treating roads once again.
Once more, yeah.
And then, from my experience, at least here in Metro Atlanta, not up in the mountainous areas where you say the roads are winding and steep and unpredictable, but traversing over snow is preferable than traversing over ice.
Sure. Any given day, it's better to have snow on the ground. Initially, there will be some impacts just because people are out and about. Obviously, there will be fewer cars, fewer vehicles out because it is Saturday morning. What I will say is with temperatures settling down below freezing, there could be some icy patches as a result of the snow that's on the ground as you get into early next week. So not immediate impacts in terms of treacherous road conditions. It will nonetheless be tricky as the snow is coming down.
Once again, we're looking at the possibility of some school closures on Monday in some of the harder hit areas.
And we're going back and forth on Sunday's high temperature, and the modeling has us at 35 degrees. If we don't get above freezing, we will fall below freezing Friday night, and we will not come back above freezing until Monday afternoon.
Is sunshine going to do anything on Sunday to kind of
Sunshine always helps, but it can only go so far. If the air is not warming up, we can get some melting in here, but it won't exactly melt away.
And here we are, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
So you guys are kind of honing in on what it's going to do this weekend already.
I will say this, the timing is locked in. The timing is in sync. Saturday morning going into Saturday afternoon, there's no doubt about that. There are no doubts about the impacts to East Georgia. It's really, 2 inches or more. I don't see it going any other direction. For the metro, and I would like to divide the metro area in half. And I think the I-75 corridor works as a great line of demarcation.
Okay.
If you are to the east of I-75, that's where we're expecting higher snowfall amounts. If you're to the west, and that puts South Fulton in conversation, downtown in conversation, half of Cobb as you get out into Mableton, going into Fulton County, of course, Carroll, all those areas that are to the west of I-75, you're likely to run a trace. If this thing ends up not being as robust as it could be, but you're also likely to possibly pop an inch. If you pop an inch going out towards South Fulton, you definitely got probably 2 inches in Gwinnett County.
All right.
Yep.
I know you're going to keep watching it for us. Jonathan, thanks. One of the hardest hit counties was White County up in the northeast. We're going to check in with Tara Jabor, who's been up there for days tracking the fallout, and then the possibility of yet another. So this would be a 1-2 punch for those folks.
It would be.
When we come back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. So happy you're streaming with us on this Thursday afternoon here on Fox Local for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, bringing you through all of the important events happening today, and there are a lot of them. We just talked to Jonathan Stacy, our meteorologist, about the real and almost definite now possibilities of winter weather coming in this weekend, particularly on Saturday in the form of snow this time. Our folks up to the north and the east are going to get hit big time, with Metro Atlanta seeing its share as well. But let's get up to White County now. That's where our Tara Jabor has been for what seems, Tara, like several days now. And for the folks up there, it's going to go from bad to worse, because that was one of the hardest hit counties after the ice storm that rolled through here last weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just on Monday, people here in White County were without power. It was like over 8,000 households who did not have power. Now, luckily, a lot of those households do now have power again, but of course, now they're getting hit with this next storm. I spoke to the public safety director here in White County today. He told me that they're expecting 1 to 2 inches of snow, but he says that the snow isn't his biggest concern. His biggest concern is the freezing temperatures that will come after that, and he's worried that that snow will freeze and that it will stick around in this area for a long time. So right now the county's focus is on the roads. Of course, that's always one of the biggest things when we talk about winter weather. He told me that they will start pre-treating the county roads here in White County either later today or early tomorrow. And then of course, when this snow arrives here late on Friday, early Saturday morning.
It sounds like her ambient.
What'd you say? Sorry. So it sounds like this snow will be coming here early Saturday morning, and they are expecting to be out on the roads, plowing the roads. Let's hear from the public safety director here in White County.
This is going to be a dry powder snow, and every single flake that falls could potentially accumulate, meaning that travel conditions will go bad quickly, and whatever accumulates is not going to melt or go away anytime soon. I mean, it's conceivable we could still have travel issues around White County well into next week. So again, just as last week, we're encouraging everyone to be prepared and have everything that you need to potentially shelter in place for a day or two in this event.
Now, White County tells me that they are already staffing up for this winter event. They have extra EMS. They will also have extra dispatchers to prepare. Again, they are asking people to stay home starting on Saturday morning. Of course, that is when this snow is expected to roll in, and then those freezing temps.
Tara, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to get out and about around town there in preparation for your coverage today, but I can just imagine the people who live and have to do business up in White County are kind of exhausted by this point after what they had to endure last weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when you talk about winter weather, you definitely get like a fatigue, like you're tired of being in your house. But we did speak with some people. We actually spoke to a couple of college students here. They were on the excited side. They were like, oh, it's going to snow. These two women, they're both from Georgia. They've lived here their whole lives, and they were excited for the snow. But I think business owners, they're a little tired. Of course, they want to do business, and it's the weekend, and that's their prime time. So I think there's some mixed emotions here with the weather for sure.
Yeah, I mean, a good snowstorm can be fun in a lot of ways, but not when it piles on top of an ice storm that already kind of ripped through there and did a ton of damage, most especially where you are up in northeast Georgia. So we'll have to see how they confront this next round of winter weather. Tara, thanks so much. I want to talk about a big news event in Washington, D.C., where lawmakers are struggling at this hour to keep the government open. We might find out today if lawmakers can come to an agreement on the terms by which to keep the government functioning. Feels like we just came out of a government shutdown. There's been no signs of compromise yet between Democrats and Republicans, and Democrats have a list of demands. They say they want to change the way that ICE agents operate, and they're willing to shut down a huge portion of the federal government to make it happen. Among the changes that Democrats want, prohibit masks worn by ICE agents, require body cams, and end roving patrols. All of these among the list of demands by Democrat lawmakers in order to keep the government functioning. They can point to some public support behind those demands as well. A new Fox News poll shows that 59% of registered voters now say that ICE is too aggressive, a 10-point jump from 6 months ago. Republicans may be open to negotiate, but not over a government shutdown, according to Republican lawmakers. So you can see a blanket of snow covering Capitol Hill as we take a live look at that beautiful structure. The question is, can Senate lawmakers come to an agreement on terms by which to keep the government running? We're going to find out here, or at least get a really good idea as this afternoon continues to unfold. And of course, we'll keep you updated here on Fox Local and on Fox 5 News. As we continue, we often talk about local charities, local organizations who help to put food on the tables of those less fortunate. What about their furry friends? Well, this is a cool concept, kind of bringing together one of those organizations and an organization that works to keep our pets fed for those less fortunate. We're going to check in with Chris Rosenthal live when we continue. Welcome back, everybody. We're streaming live on our Fox Local app, either on your mobile device or if you're watching us on your home TV. Certainly glad you're with us this afternoon for continuing live coverage of all the events unfolding today. Perhaps our biggest headlines, if you will, the weather, the impending snowstorm that is expected to move in here over the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, and then that big FBI operation at the Fulton County Election Headquarters in which Fulton County officials are now reacting to that operation. We heard from Kevin Stewart earlier in the program about getting his hands on that search warrant and when we might find out more information about what not only they discover inside, but the motivations behind this investigation. Want to shift gears now, though, and talk about some of the nobility in our community. We heard about it during the last government shutdown, and we heard about it over the holidays, and that is how our local organizations step up in particular times of need to help families who are struggling in one way or another. All right. They could be struggling through a number of things, loss of job, hardships, health problems. But it seems like the organizations in our community are always there to help, especially during the holidays and beyond. But we often don't talk about our furry friends, that is, the pets that live with us. Chris Rosenthal is joining us now live with an effort to sort of marry help with families with help for our pets. Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm at the Gooder Community Market off of Edgewood, and Atlanta Dog Mom has teamed up with them to have a free pet food vending machine. You can see it right here behind me. It's actually pretty cool. I'll kind of show you how it works here. All you got to do is you got to have just a debit card or a credit card. You don't need to spend any money. You just tap it. Actually, you want to unlock it. Then you just tap it, and then it opens up. And all of this is free. This is dog food and cat food in here, some wet and dry food here. And if you're somebody that is in need, you come to the market here, buy some food, but you can also pick up some free pet food for your pets. And you know, this is more than just about free pet food. This is about keeping your families together with your pets, because these things cost a lot of, pet food costs a lot of money, and a lot of people have a hard time affording that, which means their animals might end up in the shelter. So it's really about keeping animals out of shelters, keeping them in your homes, especially if times are hard. And I spoke earlier today with Ebony Richardson. She was with Atlanta Dog Mom, just about how this idea got started and why it's so important. Let's take a listen.
Atlanta Dog Mom, our 501(c) nonprofit arm, is focused on affordable pet care. One of the main initiatives we have for that is our pet pantry. So we have a pet pantry where people can get free pet food for any reason. You don't have to have any qualifiers. And the vending machine is our first extension of that out of Fulton County into Metro Atlanta. So now people have a place where when they reach out to me for pet food assistance, I can direct them to somewhere that they can get the food that they need without transportation barriers, without having to make arrangements to meet up to get the food. So it makes it a lot more accessible for people across Metro Atlanta.
And why is there a need? Talk to me about the need and how this really helps people out.
Animal shelters have always been overflowing, but within the past few years, especially since the pandemic, the numbers have skyrocketed. And our hope with our pet pantry and low-cost pet care initiatives is that we can help people keep their pets at home before they even get to the point of considering taking them to the shelter. And so we always say, if you can feed your pet, you can keep your pet. And that's one of the highest needs that we see, is people unsure if how long they'll be able to afford their pet care if they are experiencing layoffs or experiencing homelessness, or just job shortages, wage shortages. I know SNAP benefits got cut, and so all of those things add up, and sometimes they can add up to the pet's got to go. So that's where we step in to help people keep their pets at home.
Yeah, so it really is more than just free food. I mean, it's much broader mission here, huh?
Absolutely. It's all about keeping families together, and a family includes your pet.
Yeah, and when people come here, what sort of pet food do they have?
We have cat and dog food here. We have wet and dry food. What's great about this machine is that we're able to track inventory based on people's needs. So far, I've been able to learn that the pet parents that are visiting this vending machine tend to have more dogs than cats. So that's helpful. When we restock, we'll bring more dog food to meet the needs of the environment.
Yeah, and they started this in about mid-January, and within 4 days they were out of food already and had to had to restock it. And that's where Gooder is helping them out. They're providing warehouse space to keep some of that food, but they're always taking donations. You can check out Atlanta Dog Mom's website if you want to donate to them to help help them continue to keep this vending machine stocked. This is the first one that they have. There are plans to open up some more. They want to open up another one down in Forest Park. That'll be the next one for them. So again, Atlanta Dog Mom and Gooder teaming up, providing these free pet food vending machines. Super simple, just no questions asked. All you need to just tap a credit card or a debit card on it.
It's an incredible gesture, effort, whatever the adjective is you want to use, to help our community. Do they rely primarily, in the Moms organization and Gooder, obviously, on private organizations to sort of step up to stock some of these shelves with pet food and food for families?
Yeah, I was talking with Ebony about that earlier, and she's got to round it up from wherever she can. She goes to a lot of the pet food companies, and she goes to some of the food bank organizations, but there's still a cost to it. There's still costs to ship the food. There's still costs to store the food that they still have to pay. So, so there's still a cost that they need. That's why they need donations. But they also ask for donations if you do give them in terms of money. They can a little more efficient with how they can spend it that way. But they do get some help from, like I said, pet food companies and some other food banks.
And in your time spent there, have you gotten a chance to speak to people who come in and use that store as a resource for themselves, their families, their pets, and what is their reaction to these kinds of items being provided?
Yeah, it's I've only been here for a little bit of time, so a little bit of time that I've been here, I haven't seen too many people come by. But they say that this area is there's a lot of seniors, for example, in this area. So a lot of seniors do come by and do. I have a woman nodding at me right now. She says, yeah, she uses this. So a lot of seniors in this area, they come by. This helps them as well. Of course, being on a fixed income, having that extra little bit of savings can help keep their pet and their companion that they need.
Yeah. Just another example of how thoughtful and compassionate our community is, with places exactly like the one where you're standing today. Chris Rosenthal. Chris, thanks so much. All of this winter weather has folks at places like the American Red Cross concerned about blood shortages and the need to donate blood. It's reporting a significant blood shortage drop because of most of the winter weather that's blanketed the entire country, not just us. But we talked about the winter storm that moved through last weekend, the ice storm that affected folks all the way from New Mexico all the way up through Washington, D.C., New York City, and into Maine. So that sort of prevents people from getting out and donating blood. The Red Cross says that the supplies were already suffering because of this year's intense flu season. So add that on top of things sort of preventing people from going in and donating blood. Last weekend's winter storm making it even more difficult for hospitals to resupply. So they are putting out a call to action. They says the Red Cross is in need of all blood types, but there are specific shortages with type A negative, type B negative, platelets, and if you're like me, I'm O negative, all right? So that means that if I donate my blood, it goes right into the emergency room because it can be donated to anybody. O negative, we're called universal donors. But they need those particular types of blood, and the need is urgent. So if you find yourself with a little extra time on your hands and you have it in your heart to donate some blood, platelets, whatever, please find your local American Red Cross and do so as soon as you can. No interest rate cuts today. That, according to the Federal Reserve. We got the notes from the Fed chairman, and they indicated that they are pausing rate cuts for now. due to the health of the United States economy. That is Jerome Powell there, who the president, I'm sure you've heard of at this point, is frustrated with, calling him on several occasions too late Powell, because he thinks he's been too late in lowering interest rates to put sort of a wind into the sails of the United States economy. But according to the Fed, that's sort of already happening with the lowering of regulation, with the big, beautiful legislation that was passed, one of the first huge legislative priorities of the administration, providing tax relief on so many levels for companies and individuals, that the Fed, which has lowered rates a couple of quarter basis points up until right now, has decided that they're going to pause. They say inflation is headed in the right direction, consumer sentiment is headed in the right direction, unemployment numbers, which we just got this morning, headed in the right direction. The Dow Jones Industrials kind of shrugging all of this off, saying flat for the most part. The Dow down 55 points. It's been a bit of a seesaw today, but kind of flatlining through all of this economic news, neither enthusiastic about it or not enthusiastic about it. So the market's closing here in about 12 minutes, and we'll continue to watch them. When we come back, talk about innovation. A video game maker company getting behind efforts to make kids feel better about certain medical procedures they might have, and serious ones involving cardiac issues and what have you. So we're going to check in with our Eli Jordan with this when we come back. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes, your host for this hour. And as we round it out, there's a pretty cool new version of a popular game among kids that features heart health, pediatric medicine, and basically helping to understand what children who are facing those kinds of health challenges are going through. Eli Jordan is here now to show us what it looks like. Eli?
Hey, Tom, imagine 100 million, that's 8 zeros, 100 million people coming to play your game every month. And what a better way to get your message out. And that's what they're doing here at Skillshot and at Enduring Hearts. They have developed a game, a quest within the game of Fortnite, a empathy quest. And I am here with the CEO of Skillshot, who has developed this game, and with the CEO of Enduring Hearts, Linda Lee Smith, and Todd Harris. Todd, I can tell you real quick, go to you. Just tell me, what kind of game have you guys developed here?
Well, as you said, we're building inside Fortnite. So Fortnite's a massively popular game, 100 million users a month. But inside Fortnite, you can create unique experiences. So this experience, Super Pet World, it's available today, and it's a role-playing game. You adventure, you go on quests, you collect pets, and what we're excited about today is everyone here is experiencing a sneak peek of new content that goes live this weekend. And this type of quest is not just about progressing or leveling up your character. It is giving you empathy. It is showing you and shining a light on the world of pediatric heart research. The players here, if they haven't yet, will soon discover a young woman, Alice, and Alice is in a hospital bed. And the player learns that Alice is in need of a new heart. And the player goes on a journey to gather materials, and they help assemble a backpack for Alice to wear that's going to keep her alive.
Like a Berlin heart.
A Berlin heart, which I didn't even know existed until our friends at Enduring Hearts informed us that this is based on real life. Obviously, these are real kids, and this is real technology, and we're using gaming to expose people all over the world to this important work.
So, Linda, I mean, just tell me, why choose a game to get your message out, and what is the message?
Yeah, I think it's innovation meeting innovation. I mean, it's innovation in gaming meeting innovation on the medical side, in the medical industry. And, you know, Enduring Hearts is focused on making sure that a pediatric heart transplant lasts a lifetime for a child. And so what better way to inform the general public than to access 100 million players this month, during Heart Month, and right on the heels of our signature event that's coming up March the 7th, our 11th annual Bourbon Gala, which raises critical funding for our research. We are the only national organization solely focused on pediatric heart transplant research. So exposing the journey of a child going through pediatric heart transplant and what their family goes through as well, and allowing gamers to actually help Alice to achieve getting her heart adds a very personal connection for the gamer. So we think it's an amazing collaboration.
And, you know, speaking about research, pediatric research is the lowest funded across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, so pediatrics as a whole, it receives the least amount of research funding, and so that's why our organization was created, was to fill that gap. So we're very excited about just allowing these gamers to experience the life and to have empathy for Alice and to have a greater understanding of how important and critical research really is to making sure that not just for longevity, but for quality of life as well for these patients.
And Todd, real quick, you know, there's a little bit of a stigma about gamers, you know, sitting in the basement all the time playing and all that. But it's not really all about that. I mean, it's an opportunity for them to get exposed to someone like Alice, correct?
100%. I mean, everybody games these days, but as you said, there can be a stigma. So a lot of the work we do at Ghost Gaming is gaming for good. That is our vision. Gaming has the attention of the world. Many people don't realize the gaming industry is larger than all the film industry and all of the music industry put together. And of course, here in Georgia, you know, we lead in all these creative industries. But just like you said, a parent seeing their kid play Fortnite, they might not think about it the same way as if they were taking swimming lessons or playing chess. We do. We think gaming actually develops your brain. It's a sport of a brain, and it has attention. So the question is, what do we collectively do with attention? Well, in this case, we are meeting people where they are inside a video game and shining a light on this important work.
Awesome. And real quick, I'm going to talk to Darius, who's gaming. What do you think about this game, Darius? I mean, you're a gamer. Is it?
Yeah,
you getting involved in it?
Yes, I'm very into it. It has simple mechanics, but Fortnite is a big platform. A lot of people are used to playing it, like you said, 100 million a day. So from the person just starting out that's never played video games, like some of the people we have over over here versus us that put in hours a day. You still find something in the game, and then having the backstory that gives you that deeper level of empathy and understanding the hard issues.
Have you been able to help Alice out yet?
Yes, I found 4 of the 5 pieces, so hopefully I'll be able to put together her backpack very shortly here.
So that's what you're trying to do, is put together her, I guess, Berlin heart, the backpack.
Yes.
That's cool.
So you actually get to meet her and her doctor in the hospital. They explain what the issue is and where all these pieces are, so you get to go out and explore this world and put together those pieces as you're doing it.
A little side quest.
Right.
Well, Darius, I'll let you get back to it. And Darius and Mario are over here playing, and I didn't catch the gentleman's name on the end there, but he's been developing it too. But these are Tom. This is really cool. I mean, people are into it, and this game releases tomorrow, and it's only available through the month of February, Heart Month. So
cool.
What you do is you get on Fortnite, and you go to Super Pet World, and you will find a side quest to help Alice. That's me reporting live here at Skillshot in Buckhead. Tom?
What an adventure and what an outcome. Eli Jordan, Eli, thanks. And thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. The news continues right here, right now.